What if the most important waterway on Earth could no longer be controlled by missiles alone? For decades, military planners viewed the Strait of Hormuz as one of the world's most dangerous strategic choke points. Barely wide enough to funnel nearly a fifth of global seaborne oil trade, the narrow passage has long represented a place where geography appears to favor the defender. Steep coastlines, fast attack craft, anti-ship missiles, naval mines, and dense radar coverage have all contributed to the belief that any major conflict in the region could quickly threaten one of the world's most vital shipping lanes. But modern warfare is quietly rewriting that assumption. Today, control of a strategic waterway is no longer determined solely by who possesses the largest missile arsenal or the fastest patrol boats. Increasingly, it depends on something far less visible: the ability to detect, identify, and respond faster than any opponent can adapt. That shift is transforming not only naval operations in the Persian Gulf, but the way military planners around the world think about contested maritime environments. Before we continue, if you enjoy deep military analysis that goes beyond the headlines, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, and share this video with someone interested in modern strategy. For much of the 20th century, sea control followed a relatively familiar formula. Fleets established presence. Carrier strike groups projected power. Destroyers escorted merchant shipping. Maritime patrol aircraft searched vast areas of ocean while submarines quietly monitored adversary movements beneath the surface. Presence itself was often considered deterrence. If enough ships remained on station, potential adversaries understood that any hostile action would likely trigger an immediate response. Yet maintaining that presence has always required enormous logistical effort. Warships rotate between deployments, maintenance periods, crew training, and resupply. Aircraft require airfields, fuel, spare parts, and continuous support. Even the most capable Navy cannot maintain maximum coverage everywhere, all the time. Those inevitable gaps have traditionally created opportunities. A vessel laying mines under cover of darkness, a swarm of small boats exploiting poor visibility, or a missile battery relocating between reconnaissance flights could all attempt to exploit moments when surveillance was less comprehensive. Modern military planners increasingly seek to eliminate those windows. Instead of relying exclusively on ships physically occupying every section of a waterway, today's approach emphasizes persistent awareness. The objective is simple in theory but extraordinarily complex in practice: create a continuously updated picture of everything happening across the battlespace. This concept is often described as multi-domain intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance, or ISR. Rather than depending on a single radar or one patrol aircraft, information is gathered simultaneously from satellites, long-endurance drones, maritime patrol aircraft, surface radars, underwater acoustic sensors, electronic intelligence platforms, and wide command networks. Each sensor contributes only part of the picture, but together they generate something far more valuable: a continuously refreshed operational view. The importance of that difference cannot be overstated. Finding a vessel once is useful. Knowing exactly where it is every minute afterward is far more valuable. Modern command centers increasingly fuse enormous volumes of information in real time. Commercial shipping data, radar returns, infrared imagery, satellite observations, electronic emissions, weather conditions, and intelligence reporting are combined into a single operational picture. Advanced software helps commanders identify unusual behavior, prioritize potential threats, and allocate assets more efficiently than would have been possible only a decade ago. This transformation reflects a broader evolution in military thinking. Rather than asking, "Where should we send the next patrol?" commanders increasingly ask, "What does the sensor network already know?" That distinction fundamentally changes operational planning. Persistent surveillance also complicates traditional asymmetric tactics. Fast attack boats have historically relied on speed and surprise. Naval mines depend on remaining undiscovered long enough to threaten commercial traffic. Mobile missile launchers seek concealment before relocating to new firing positions. Each of these tactics becomes significantly more difficult when multiple sensor systems continuously overlap across the same operational area. No surveillance network is perfect. Whether electronic warfare, terrain, and deliberate deception can all reduce effectiveness. Nevertheless, the trend is unmistakable. The combination of space-based reconnaissance and manned systems, artificial intelligence, and high-speed data processing has dramatically shortened the time between detection and decision. Modern naval competition is therefore becoming less about simply deploying more platforms and more about integrating information faster than an opponent can respond. This shift also changes how commanders think about deterrence itself. Traditional deterrence often depended upon visibly demonstrating military strength. Aircraft carriers entering a region, bomber deployments, or major naval exercises all signal political resolve through visible force. Information dominance operates differently. Instead of emphasizing visibility, it emphasizes certainty. If an adversary believes its movements will be detected almost immediately, many potential operations become considerably less attractive before they even begin. In many ways, the goal is not necessarily to fire the first shot. The goal was to make certain actions appear increasingly unlikely to succeed. That represents one of the most significant changes in modern maritime strategy. Nowhere is that evolution more relevant than the narrow waters connecting the Persian Gulf to the wider world. Persistent surveillance, however, is only the first step. Knowing where a potential threat is located means little if commanders cannot decide and act quickly enough to keep pace with a rapidly changing battlefield. That is where modern command and control systems have become just as important as missiles, aircraft, or warships themselves. Today's naval headquarters process enormous amounts of information every second. Radar contacts, satellite imagery, underwater acoustic signatures, electronic emissions, drone video feeds, commercial shipping data, and intelligence reports all converge inside integrated command centers. Instead of relying on separate operators to interpret each source independently, advanced software helps organize the information into a single operational picture. Artificial intelligence is becoming an increasingly valuable assistant in this process. Contrary to popular imagination, AI is not replacing commanders. In most modern military organizations, decisions involving the use of lethal force remain subject to human authorization. What AI can do is dramatically reduce the time required to analyze data, identify unusual behavior, and recommend priorities for human decision-makers. That distinction matters. The greatest advantage often comes not from automating the trigger, but from accelerating understanding. Military planners sometimes refer to this as compressing the decision cycle. The faster commanders can observe, orient, decide, and act, the more difficult it becomes for an opponent to regain the initiative. A force that consistently makes informed decisions even minutes faster than its adversary can gradually shape the entire operational environment without necessarily increasing the size of its fleet. This evolution is especially important in narrow waterways like the Strait of Hormuz. Commercial tankers, container ships, naval vessels, fishing boats, and support craft all operate within relatively confined sea lanes. Distinguishing routine civilian traffic from genuinely suspicious activity requires constant monitoring, intelligence sharing, and careful analysis. That challenge has encouraged greater cooperation among regional partners. Over the past decade, multinational maritime security efforts have expanded information sharing, coordinated patrols, and improved communication between allied naval forces operating throughout the Gulf. While each country maintains its own command structure and national interests, the overall objective remains remarkably consistent, reducing uncertainty before uncertainty develops into crisis. Maritime security also extends far beyond military operations. Every commercial vessel represents part of an enormous global supply chain. Energy exports, manufactured goods, food shipments, and industrial materials all depend on uninterrupted navigation through strategic choke points. Even temporary disruptions can affect insurance premiums, freight costs, commodity prices, and financial markets thousands of miles away. For that reason, protecting shipping is not simply a military mission. It is also an economic one. This explains why military planners increasingly focus on resilience rather than overwhelming force alone. The objective is to ensure that shipping continues to move safely despite rising geopolitical tension. That includes improving surveillance, strengthening command networks, increasing intelligence cooperation, and developing flexible response options capable of adapting to rapidly changing situations. Yet no defensive system is perfect. Technology continually evolves, and so do the methods designed to overcome it. Electronic warfare may interfere with communications. Cyber operations could attempt to disrupt logistics networks. Unmanned surface vessels and autonomous underwater systems are introducing entirely new challenges that did not exist only a generation ago. As each innovation appears, military organizations respond with new countermeasures, creating an ongoing cycle of adaptation. History suggests that this competition never truly ends. Every major advance in naval warfare, from battleships to submarines, from aircraft carriers to precision-guided missiles, has eventually produced new strategies intended to reduce its advantage. The same pattern is likely to continue as artificial intelligence, autonomous systems, and space-based surveillance become increasingly central to maritime operations. Looking ahead, three broad scenarios appear possible. The first is continued deterrence. In this outcome, stronger surveillance networks, faster information sharing, and credible defensive capabilities discourage major confrontation. Commercial shipping continues largely uninterrupted because every actor recognizes that escalation carries unacceptable costs. The second scenario involves persistent competition below the threshold of open conflict. Instead of large naval battles, regional powers increasingly rely on cyber operations, electronic warfare, unmanned systems, economic pressure, and information campaigns. Competition continues, but direct military confrontation remains limited. The third and most dangerous scenario emerges if miscalculation overrides restraint. Even a minor incident involving commercial shipping, naval patrols, or regional proxy forces could rapidly escalate if political leaders receive incomplete or inaccurate information. In an environment where events unfold within minutes, timely communication may become just as important as military capability itself. Ultimately, the Strait of Hormuz is no longer just a narrow passage connecting the Persian Gulf to the Arabian Sea. It has become a laboratory for the future of modern naval strategy. The competition unfolding there is increasingly defined by information rather than visibility, by networks rather than individual platforms, and by the speed of decision-making rather than the size of any single fleet. Control of strategic waterways in the 21st century may depend less on who fires first and more on who understands the situation first. That may prove to be the most important lesson of all. As technology continues to reshape warfare, one question remains. Will future conflicts be decided by superior firepower, or by the side that sees the battlefield more clearly before the first shot is ever fired? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And if you enjoy Minus depth analysis of military strategy, emerging technology, and global security, don't forget to subscribe for more documentaries exploring the forces shaping tomorrow's battlefield.